Hello and thank you for joining me again, and welcome to any new viewers. My name's Ben and this is To The Point English, and today I'm going to teach you 12 advanced proficiency C1, C2 level adjectives. But they will impress the examiners if you're planning to take an English exam, which I know many of you are, but also just for general English, they are good adjectives to include in your day-to-day use. And that's the idea. These are adjectives that you can use in many situations because, especially in the exams, you don't know what the subject is going to be in the writing and the speaking parts in particular. But there are certain adjectives you can use which are suitable for almost any subject. Now, I know many of you have been waiting for this video for a long time. You've probably been losing sleep while you're waiting. But that worries me a little bit, because you shouldn't really be depending on a YouTube video to expand your vocabulary. You should be doing that by yourself, day to day, by reading and watching films, series, and just keeping your own vocabulary dictionary, really. But as many of you are preparing for the Cambridge English exams, you may need some help, and I'm happy to help, and these adjectives will really give you an advantage in the exams. Okay, so let's do this. So the first adjective we're looking at today is a synonym of important. Important is a good adjective, but it's not very impressive. So a good alternative is paramount. So paramount basically means important or very important, but as I said, if you can use this in the exam, it will really impress the examiner. Let's have a look at an example sentence. Reducing carbon emissions is paramount in order to combat climate change. Okay, so that's one of the most popular subjects in the Cambridge English exams. It seems to be in almost every exam in some form or another, the environment and climate change. So paramount here is used instead of important. Another way we use paramount is in the fixed expression of paramount importance. Reducing carbon emissions is of paramount importance in order to combat climate change. Okay, so you have two options there. And the next example is really the opposite. It means unimportant, and it's trifling. Trifling, this is a really good proficiency word. As I said, it means unimportant, so you can use it in any situation where you want to emphasize that in your opinion, or maybe in reality, it's just not important. But really we use this adjective more often in a negative way, to say that it's important, which is a very English way of speaking, really. We often use the negative to emphasize the opposite, as I'll explain with this example. Choosing a university is no trifling matter for young people. So here, rather than saying choosing a university is an important matter for young people, we're saying it's no trifling matter, which is a very common structure, because it really emphasizes, and it's sort of suggesting that maybe some people think it is unimportant, but by saying it's no trifling matter, it really emphasizes that, in your opinion, it is important. And the third adjective is riveting. And riveting means very interesting, extremely interesting. So again, interesting is a good adjective, it's fine, but in the exam you really want to impress the examiners in the speaking and the writing. So riveting is a really good adjective. You can use it in reviews or just to express your own opinion about a topic. For example, I found Ben's last video absolutely riveting. And I'm sure that's true, right? So yeah, riveting, just extremely interesting. And the next adjective, again, is the opposite, so it's boring. Excuse the interruption. So yeah, the next adjective is the opposite, so it's extremely boring, and it's dull. Dull. You may be familiar with this adjective. It's an advanced, maybe proficiency, but it's definitely a strong advanced adjective. And we often use it to describe people, so a dull person. For example, my English teacher is so dull, I can't stay awake in his class. Okay, again, that's not referring to me, of course. My videos are riveting, my classes are riveting. But yeah, so dull is often used to refer to a person. Of course, dull is also an adjective to describe sort of low light. A dull day is when there is no sun, it's very cloudy. But in this case, we're referring to boring. And the next adjective is a synonym of good, really very good or excellent, and it's outstanding. So if something is outstanding, it's so good that it stands out. So it's noticeable that it's so good. So we use it in quite an emphatic way. For example, I think you make an outstanding point. So this could be in the part of the exam when you're discussing part 3, for example, the diagram, and you're trying to agree and take a decision. And rather than just say, I think you make a good point, you can really exaggerate. Why not? Just say, I think you make an outstanding point. That will boost your partner's confidence too. And the next one, again, it's the opposite. So it's bad, something that is bad or very bad, and it's dreadful. Dreadful. So this is quite a common word, especially in British English. I'm not sure if they use it so much in American English, but in British English it's pretty common, and it just means very bad. So the example, I think it's dreadful how people treat animals sometimes. So it's very bad, terrible, awful, all those synonyms, but dreadful is a very good one. It's a very proficiency level adjective. Now the next two adjectives, number 7 and 8, are really useful for answering the first question in the speaking, which is usually, where are you from? So these are good adjectives to describe where you live. For example, quaint. Now quaint means like pretty or different, different in a pretty way, okay? So for example, I live in a quaint village in the southeast of the country. So instead of just saying pretty or charming, you can say quaint. It's a very high level adjective. But maybe you don't live in a pretty village or a quaint village. So if you think your neighborhood is not so nice, maybe you think it's ugly, you can use the word hideous. Hideous means extremely ugly. And you could say something like, my neighborhood is hideous, but the people are nice. Okay. And the next one is baffling. Baffling. Now baffling means difficult to understand or confusing or extremely surprising. So it's baffling that some people believe the earth is flat. Okay, so it's extremely difficult to understand. It's just unbelievable, really baffling. It's so confusing. And then again, sort of the opposite, more or less, is straightforward. Straightforward, which means simple and easy. The solution to the problem is straightforward, in my opinion. So the problem has a simple or easy solution, in my opinion. It's not complicated, it's not confusing, it's not difficult, it's straightforward. And the next adjective is a synonym of big, because you could use big in many contexts, many different situations you may need to use big. But in this case, sizeable is an advanced or proficiency alternative. Sizeable. The company invested a sizable amount of money in the project. So it's often used for quantities, often money, really, a sizable quantity, a sizable amount of money. So it means big, but it's not emphatic in this case. It's not very big, it's just quite big, sizable. As with everything in English, it depends on your intonation a lot. If you say, oh, just sizable amount of money, then that sounds like it's a lot. But if you use a neutral intonation, it just means quite a lot. And again, the opposite is small. So a good adjective for small is paltry. Paltry. So nurses are paid a paltry salary considering how hard they work. So again, it's small, but it's extremely small. It's almost like it's insufficient. Part of the meaning of paltry is that it's so small it's insufficient. So that's why I use the example of nurse's salary to really emphasize that. These are the type of adjective that you need to use in the exam or introduce into your day-to-day vocabulary. 12 adjectives are not really enough, but it's a good start and it gives you an idea of the type of adjectives you need to use. depending on the subject, you'll need to use other adjectives. So that's why I say you need to just be building your vocabulary more and more. But adjectives in particular are a very good way to go from sort of an intermediate or upper intermediate level to advanced and proficiency. If you have a good range and command of the adjectives, you can really boost and level up your English. Okay, thank you for joining me again. Hit the subscribe button if you found this video useful, and I'll see you very soon for another video. Take care, bye.